okay, there's definitely something there with Lee and Kara, and you finally get that acknowledgement, and I mean, there is no stronger acknowledgement than that. When a chick's getting off saying your name, well, yeah, you're pretty much on her mind.
Yeah, but if she's with another guy, she's kind of not of sound mind. And on top of that, like everybody, I remember when the very first time I saw this episode years ago, I'm like, how the hell did Gaius get in there?
Bro. Not of sound mind. She's using him as a Steely Dan, and you're saying that she's not of sound mind. What are you saying, SD?
Well, come on, like, let's think of this logically here. I mean, yeah, she's using Gaius, but why bother? She can just go to Lee. There's nothing stopping her from doing that.
No,
Even the rank is considered.
Her. He's the keg. There's
doesn't
lots
matter.
stopping her.
He's the vice president. What is more troublesome right now, comparatively?
Well, but this gets into the authorial device, right? Because then we have Thrace achieving climax, but Gaius doesn't. And then his narcissistic personality disorder kicks in because, he's called Lee, right? So then, then we shoot back to Adama.
Her the way Lee could, yes.
And then Adama says, the reason why you always lose is because you never take risks. And this is why you don't win. And the win is Starbuck. This is the metaphor. He's not taking the risk. He has to take a chance, and he has to tell her that he loves her. I mean, this is,
Oh no, that is absolutely on point. Like, I'm not disputing that at all. I'm just saying, like, of everything that we've seen led up to this point, we knew that Gaius wanted to bed Kara, but it never seemed to be a reciprocal aspect, especially after she's walked in on him, masturbating in front of a 600,000 blood vial. So the question being is, like, how does she get? Why is it this character as opposed to anyone else that could be a part of the flight crew?
Because I think she thinks I think because she thinks it's easy. And I think that this gets back to what Stephen was saying earlier. This whole episode is showing that she can be rational, irrational, pragmatic, risky, scary. Sometimes you wonder what she's thinking. But this is somebody who is this isn't a person who's being used as a device for gender. This is just showing naked desire in a human being, and it doesn't matter what her parts are. She's actually acting kind of.
I'm not talking about the parts. I'm just talking about the choice of who's entering those parts.
Well,
look, girl needed to get laid. She said, "Who's the lowest?"
Yeah, like a girl needs to get laid. And we've seen the rest of the cast here on the show. There are a lot more masculine and satisfactory-looking men than Gaius Baltar.
Well, in your opinion,
in my opinion, but also in the fact of stamina and upkeep. I mean, Sam Witwer, he's maybe just number 2 to Boomer in the Raptor, but he's a guy that's at least got some endurance to him, and we've seen how quickly Gaius jumps into a climax.
Script's like, if I was on Galactica, I'd want a Marine to fuck me.
That's right. That's some endurance.
Well, that's what you do. If the Marines are only there for propaganda purposes, they're clearly got to make up for it in other aspects. Because
the few, the proud, the brave, the ones with the endurance. No, SD. This is opportunity. He's a Steely Dan. He is nothing more than the dillage of the doage. Dildo. That's all.
Oh my gosh, man! See,
Chief is lonely too. Like, Chief could have is at least more of a confident masculine character and he's also had more time with Kara to at least create a believable desire for a fling, as opposed to pompous, creepy Baltar.
What about Doc Coddle, Script?
Yeah,
there you go. He's
why didn't the old guy get none?
You kidding? Yeah, he's great. He's got drugs for her too. Afterwards, there's a transactional aspect that can be.
Well, the reason why I think that this is happening is, in my notes, I was struck by this juxtaposition where you have this person who engages in incredibly risky behaviors, and then you have this Boy Scout. And once again, we go back to this wonderful insight of Stevens, which is in Kara Thrace, In Starbuck, we have both of these things. So in a way, Gaius appeals to this risky part of her nature, whereas Lee is what she truly wants. And in my notes, I say, here we see the writers showing two extremes in personality. Gaius, who takes too many risks because he has NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, and Lee, who's a Boy Scout, and he takes no risks. And this isn't how you get the girl. But I think in a way, the writers are trying to show us that the choice in these two men are both sides of Starbuck, who she really is. She can be rational, wonderful, terrific, and then she can be a loose cannon, scary, unpredictable, risk-taking.
Well,
I don't dispute that, but I am curious about the types of risks that Baltar has taken, because he kind of finds himself in situations he's not able to sort of handle, and then has to BS his way out of.
Well,
a risk taker is a bit more active.
Well, to be fair, look, I'll break it down as I guess, as base as possible. There are times just like us that chicks want to go out and just get one off.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
And she obviously, because you can see in the little details, by the way, if you watch after the awkward moment, when they stop, after she has said Lee's name and she's getting up to leave, yeah, she picks up the blue party dress off the floor. So it's picking up right from after after that party. So it stands to reason. Well, they got drunk at the party. She knew he was an easy mark to get one off, and she took advantage of it. And it is
true, but it's also strange that because he was also surrounded by a number of other very beautiful women, so he engaged in that choice of pushing the others aside for Kara, which was again established up earlier. But at the same time, the one thing you have to say, wonder is, okay, she's at this party, she's maybe drunk or maybe she's not, we don't know. But even when a girl wants to sort of peruse the bars or whatever social environment to get one off, they're still trying to find the best possible suitor in the situation of options that they have presented.
Bullshit. And you ever been drunk?
Have you ever been a girl? Have you ever been a girl, SD?
I've never been a girl, no, but I have a sister who does get wasted and has made bad decisions, but comparatively to the other people that were in the room at the time, she picked the best option out of those that were.
But listen, there's a pre-existing.
And that kind of happens.
There's pre-existing flirtation in that situation, right? This isn't Aunt Raffi and 7 of 9 holding hands at the end of a fucking show, okay?
That's right. Yeah.
It just come out of nowhere.
And the flirtation was always one-sided too. It was Gaius initiating it.
She was
Kara knocking him down.
She was being the alpha in that situation.
Yeah. Well,
you got to chase me. And then when she wanted it, she tackled the gazelle.
Preach, Stephen, preach.
Here's the thing, in a situation like we were talking about, SD, if a woman's out there, it's not always about finding the hottest guy in the room to have a quick romp with. It's
Drew and I'd never get laid if that was the case.
It's like they know. They can sense, women have a keen sense, same as we do, of, sexual chemistry. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be verbalized. You just know. You can tell a person that, okay, they've been around the block. I can feel that vibe. I get it, and then it's on from there. But
I'm just struck by how disappointed SD is in her choice. He's very disappointed.
He just don't like Baltar.
Yeah, he just doesn't like Gaius.
I think Baltar's a pathetic human being. That's why I enjoy watching him. But to see him get action so effortlessly is just mind-boggling to everything I know about human interaction and behavior. Yeah. Even when you have 47,000 people, Baltar would be if it wasn't for his intelligence and status, Baltar would literally be bottom tier stuff. Sure. And even then, his status of being a science officer, not even a science consultant aboard Galactica, reserved for the 60-year set of tests that he has to do, would pretty much make him an unviable option, especially considering the fact that
but I don't
he's
think
such erratic behavior and
I don't think the ladies
talks to himself, masturbates in public. I mean,
yes, but I don't think the ladies at the Playboy Mansion were thinking about endurance, and I also don't think that they were thinking about character. So I just think that sometimes women can have empty sex and
looking to get knocked up, SD,
and not worry about it.
Sex.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if he was looking for, I agree.
I think Script Doctor hates Boltar, Drew. I think he really has an intense hatred.
Well,
I agree.
If it was a case where, you know, Starbuck was looking for breeding stock, she definitely would not have looked Boltar's direction. She was just looking for a quick lay, and it's like, okay, I choose you because I know you know at least how to you know, get it on. Yeah. And that was that. It was nothing more, nothing less. Now,
well, she knows how to get it on because he dropped his pants in front of 60 vials of blood.
Yes, he did. I mean, big. He had a long.
That does not denote to me as someone who's confident in their sexual prowess, where they have
I mean, it would have been
thrust into their hand.
I mean, she ain't gonna. Now she's looking to like have a kid. She ain't gonna be in bed with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But it's like Steven said. This is also about.
I don't know any women that just decide to have a fling with someone who.
Yeah, but this is also about power, SD. She gets off. She has an orgasm, and he doesn't.
Right.
This is all about this showing this episode of her being powerful. I totally agree with Steven. There are two themes here. This is about power and pugilism. This is about, you know, the punch out and the punch up, and it's all about power. And I think
I'm not arguing
that's why
though.
she used him. Yeah,
I'm not arguing that though, because she could achieve that with any male character. That's the issue.
Yes. No. It had to be Boltar. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I think it had to be Boltar.
No, I mean, and for the setting up, for the way they were setting this up, you had Lee and his father fighting, right? Lee's the stronger, you know, thinks he can win thinks he's going to win, and he gets those first few hits in, and then his father's experience is what got him through it. She showed wisdom through experience. He showed he was an alpha, and then you had a situation where Boltar is having sex with Kara, and she has an orgasm. She calls out Lee's name. Somebody else doesn't give a shit about him. Yep. He rolls over because, you know, he's just been used basically, and he knows it. She gets up and leaves like an alpha from beginning to end in this episode, all the way to the jump.
Yep.
She is an alpha in everything she's doing, even when she's being dressed down by Lee.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that. I'm saying you can still get to the same choices without having to have.
You wanted her to fuck Billy. You wanted her to sleep with Billy. Isn't that true?
You know what? The same result still would have happened if she slept with Billy and Baltar slept with Candace.
No.
Poor Billy.
Situations could still happen.
Could you imagine Billy having sex with Starbuck?
Oh God, she'd kill him.
Yeah, she would.
I'm amazed she didn't kill Baltar.
Shirt off, lipstick smeared across his face, hair all fucked up. Yeah, just walking out. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, Gaius is a domestic abuse victim, so he's used to getting his butt kicked. But Billy would be in therapy after having sex with Thrace.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
She would ruin the next 3 girlfriends for that man.